Last week, we left Bruce's in the middle of the night in a wild storm. We took the boat up to the hard stand and lifted it out and prepared it for anti-fouling. So this is what you look like at the end of the day. Well, we don't wear skimpy bikinis. Hell, it frightens me when I take my shirt off. There's definitely no one pregnant here. This is motor sailing for old dudes. We do live on a boat and we do cruise extensively along the Australian coast. Join us and visit some great destinations. Learn how to look after a boat and live off grid. It might even get you enthused to do the same thing. Hey, stay out there till you can't. Okay, day 3 on the hard. I feel a bit cleaner this morning. The shower last night was good. So all the dirty jobs are done. It's just getting back to prepping things up and painting now, and then polishing. Polishing takes a bit of time, but we'll do that last. But yeah, today I'm just going to wrap my shafts with tape. I do that before I anti-foul, put anodes on the prop shafts, and we'll probably mask up and maybe give it a coat of anti-foul. We'll see how we go. Brucey will be here about 8 o'clock. Anyway, it's a bit downhill now. All the hard work's done, and yeah, we'll get some of this LTEX number 5 plus on. What you doing, Brucey?
Vinegarding all the patches. We coat them so that the anti-foul sticks. Pretty much. We hope. This is all above the water line, and I think what happened last time is we did it in the sun. It was a little bit too hot, and so we just sanded it all back, and now we're touching it up. A bit of vinegar, and
should be right to anti-foul.
Should be good to go. Yeah.
So this is the fun part, putting it back on.
Tell me again why we took it off, Norm?
Don't know.
What might work out was one of those. They do have furniture moving trolleys or fridge moving trolleys or something like that. Like a little platform with wheels that passes on. Yeah. Designed for shifting furniture or something.
Last bit to do, dudes, and what I do is thin the anti-foul out a little bit just above the water line, so it doesn't get too thick, because the paint you put on above the water line dries right out and it gets really thick, pretty hard to rub back. So I'm just putting a very thin coat on just to make it look all right. But that's what we do above the water line. Rudders are all anti-fouled. Shafts, anodes are on. The props are all bagged up. I'm going to prop speed them next week, but the rub back and the anti-foul is complete. So all I've got to do tomorrow is pull the tape off. And yeah, the girl's looking pretty good. It's a big job, eh? 3 days of pretty hard work, but if you want to do it properly, it's a good way of doing it, and just something you've got to do if you want to stay out there, I guess. If you can afford it, it'd be good to get it done, but yeah, I can save a few bucks by doing it myself, and at least I know it's done pretty well. It's a good job. My mate Brucey, as usual, comes to the party and gives us a hand, so they're long days. I've just finished, I've been up since 6 and probably 6 o'clock now, so it's been a pretty long day, but look, we're really over the top of it now, on the downward slide for sure now, just a few little jobs to do, and hopefully I'll get back in the water Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, that's the end of day 3 on the Hrard, and I don't think I'll be long out of bed. I didn't finish till, must have been 6 o'clock tonight. It was dark anyway when I finished, just cleaning up. We've got the bottom prepped yesterday. We got all the anti-foul on today. Thanks, Brucey. Your blood's worth bottling, mate. Bruce gave me a hand today as well. Yeah, so we've got it all anti-foul. Tomorrow morning I'll pull the tape off. And just about there. Polishing's the next job. That's a pretty big one too, but you can do it. I've got a few days, so I'll probably do one side at a time. I'll work it out anyway. Got to keep myself busy while I'm on the Hrard here. And a big shout out to Gary. He came down a couple of days ago to say hi. He follows me on Facebook and YouTube, and he brought me a cooked chook, a roast chicken for you people overseas. But anyway, it's been fantastic, Gary, because when you're working on the Hrard all day, you really don't feel like cooking a meal at the end of it. So the chook has done me for 3 nights. So I've been having a chicken dinner every night, thanks to Gaz. Good on you, mate. Fantastic. Anyway, yeah, back into it again tomorrow, but it really on the downhill slide now, a bit of polishing of the hulls, and it's all over. Ready to go back in the water, and let's go cruising, dudes. Okay, time for a bit of polish. Okay, what I'm using is Maxi Wax by Cleaner Works. Fantastic polish. Just dab it on there like that with a brush. I just put it in a little tub, and then what I do is just massage it in. I've got a 5-inch random orbital sander with a foam disc on it. So what I'm going to do now is just work that into the gel coat. Just work it in horizontally, and be careful you don't come down over your anti-foul, because it'll leave a white mark on it. It goes away after a while, but it makes it look a bit ordinary when you launch the boat. So just work that in, let it dry, and I'm just going to wipe it off with a microfiber cloth, or some terry toweling cloth I've got. And that's a good way to do it. If you buff it off, apparently if you buff it, the heat of the buff melts the wax in a bit better, but I'm putting 2 coats on the waterline, and I think that'll do. And yeah, I think just buffing it off with a rag is a lot easier than swinging that buff around. It's pretty hard work. This isn't too bad, it's pretty light. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Let's get into it. Just let it dry for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then rub it off with a clean microfiber cloth. That's all you've got to do. And that's pretty easy. It comes off really easy. Great stuff to get off. Great. A lot of polishes are pretty hard work getting them off, but the Maxi Wax is fantastic. So that's 2 coats I'm going to put on here, just up to there, and that'll protect the gel coat pretty well. It's got lots of carnauba wax in it, so if you put carnauba wax into your gel coat, keep it looking shiny. Best thing about it, Brucey, this is the last little bit, well, apart from the transom. Brucey's just doing the last little bit of rubbing off there, and she's come up really nice. You see a bit along here, that's just left an edge. I've got to do this bit yet. I'll give it 2 coats of Maxi Wax on the waterline. That'll help help it stop getting that stain in it. We've done down the tunnel here, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up. I've only done up 2. You can see what I've done to here, about there. So I don't know if you can see the difference there, but it's taken. The thing I like about the Maxi Wax is it's taking all the carbon deposits off that come from the exhaust, so you get a fair bit of exhaust running through here. And whereas the other wax we used to use wouldn't take the stains out of the gel coat here, you can see that you usually get a nasty stain running down here where the water's coming out of the exhausts, and you can see that it's really taken that back to being really good. So I'm very happy about that on both sides. The other thing I'm really happy about with this product too, if you do come down over your anti-foul line, it rubs off. The other stuff used to stain, it used to put a deep sort of stain into the anti-foul and you couldn't get it out, but if you come down a little bit too far with the buff, you can just rub it off with a rag. So pretty good product, Jeffrey. I'm liking it a lot. It makes this job a little bit more bearable. It's still a pretty ordinary job, but with a good product like Maxi Wax, you're halfway there, dudes. Well, I've just finished polishing the tunnel. It's pretty hard work, but probably took about 3 hours, I think. But thanks to Maxi Wax from Cleaner Works, it's a really easy job. Put it on with a sponge pad, buff it up with a lamb's wool buff, and then just wipe it off with a microfiber cloth. And the best thing about it, it gets all of the exhaust stain out of the gel coat. So it's a really good product. Fantastic. Anyway, I'm glad to be at the end of it. I'm just going to have a little bit of a relax. I'll go and have a shower. I might even go up and do some washing in the laundry mat tonight, I'm thinking. Anyway, just about done, dudes. Tomorrow, 2:30, back in the water. Okay, nearly all my chores done on the hard stand. Now, hard stands are very dirty places. The whole area, even though they keep this one pretty clean, they wash it down regularly, and they even have a little sweeper going around, I think, sweeping up dust. Still can't get away from it. There's a lot of black, usually black dust on the ground from people rubbing their anti-foul back. So what I do, the first thing I do is I protect the boat a little bit, because I am living on board. Because I am living on board, as you come up the steps, you step onto, I've just covered it with some black plastic builder's film, I think they call it. But that only cost me $14, and it saves a hell of a lot of cleaning up. I've got it all the way up into the cabin where I use. Now this is the best system I've found. When I come onto the boat, you can see I'm wearing a pair of Crocs. These are old Crocs that I use when I'm under the boat getting dirty. So if you look at them, let's have a look at them. This is just from walking around in the yard. You can see the bottom of them is really black. So I don't want to wear them into the boat. And even if you look at your feet, you can see your feet are pretty black as well. They're not very clean. So I don't want to track all of that blackness into my nice clean boat. So what I do, I wear my working shoes up onto the deck here, then I kick them off. I walk a little bit further, there's a bit of a mat here, give the feet a bit of a rub, and then I put my good Crocs on before I go into the cabin. And those Crocs, if you have a look, the soles are nowhere near as dirty as the working Crocs. So then I can come inside and I don't end up with black shit all through the cabin. Okay, it's been 5 pretty hectic days on the Hrard. It's been good here over Easter. It's been very quiet and not too much dust around, but it's Tuesday now after Easter and it's all got a bit noisy and probably a bit more dust around as well. I'm down to the last couple of jobs. What I'm going to do, I'm going to treat my props so that they don't get barnacles on them. I'm going to use a new product this year. I usually use Prop Speed. I find that to be pretty good, but I'm going to try Prop 1. This is an Australian made product. It's a bit cheaper than the Prop Speed. I think it's pretty well the same scenario, how you put it on, so I'll show you how we do that. First thing to do though is read the instructions. They're on the can, so read the instructions and follow them carefully. It's pretty important. But I found the Prop Speed or Prop 1. We'll try this and see how it goes. I hope to get a couple of years out of this anti-foul on what I'm doing here, so we'll see how we go. But this is how I treat the props. I'll show you how I put it on. First thing we've got to do is uncover them, because I've had them all covered up so that I didn't splash anti-foul all over them. Now I've already rubbed the props back, got all of the heavy bits off them with a fibre lock sort of wheel. It's like a wheel that's got fibre in it, and that's a really good way of cleaning your props up to this stage. So I'll just take all the masking tape off. I'm going to use it on the props and on the skeg. Anyway, what I've got to do first is just rub these back a little bit. I've just got some 400 grit. Okay, we've got the props pretty well rubbed back. They're looking pretty good, bit of dust on them. Next job, you've got to put gloves on. You don't want to touch these once you've done that. And we're just going to use some acetone. To give them a good wipe over. Pay a bit of attention to the edges of the prop as well when you're doing all this. Okay, once you've got the props nice and clean, rubbed back and clean, it's time to mix up the primer. So this is how the pack comes, and in there you've got stirring stick, very important. The primer is in the big can, and the instructions are on the back here, so if you read them it'll tell you how to do it. says on top here, before use, scrape all solids off the bottom of this container with a wooden stick. Reseal container and shake for a minimum of 2 minutes before mixing with the primer activator. So we'll do that. So that's the primer, the big can. That's the activator. Don't forget, with the primer you've got to put, it's a 2-pack system, so you've got to put that activator in with the primer, and that whole lot goes in. That's the ratio in the tin. And this is the clear coat. So a smaller tin, but you only put 1 coat of clear coat on, where we're going to put 2 coats of primer on. I think we should have plenty, but we'll just see how we go. Make sure you hold on to this stuff. You don't want to tip it on the ground at this stage. Clean stirring stick. A little bit of solids on the bottom of it. I don't know if you can see it, but that tin is nowhere near full of primer. It's only about, probably not even half full, so it's quite a small amount. I hope this one's pretty full. So I know this primer goes a long way. Now, don't use an old brush, use brand new disposable ones. Make sure they're ones that don't lose all their bristles, but these ones are pretty easy, pretty cheap. I think they were $1 or something at Bunnings. But have 2 of them, one for the primer, one for the top coat. So use 2 different brushes. I think we've got the solids stirred out of that pretty well. Put the lid back on. Shake for 2 minutes. This is going to be a boring video. Okay, while there's room in the can, you've got to put the hardener in. Don't forget to put that hardener in, because it'll never dry if you don't. So that goes in, makes the can a bit fuller, and we'll give it a stir. So that's the activator. This is primer, so that'll make the primer start to kick off. Once you've done this, you're not going to be able to keep that. It will go hard in the can at the end of the day. So once you've mixed it, you've got to use it up. Give it a good stir, make sure all the activators stirred in pretty well. Now this stuff goes off pretty quick, so when you put it on, you want to put 2, not 2 heavy coats on. Start at the root of the prop and work your way out. I don't know, but I think there's plenty of product here in this small pack to do 2 18-inch props and the hangers, I reckon. So we'll get these coats on, and then I'll go over and do the other side, let this dry out a bit, and then when we come back we'll put the top coat on. Once you get this done, you've got to leave it for 12 hours before you dip it in the water, and don't touch it, just leave it once it's all finished. Okay, so I've done the other side. We've both got 1 coat on them now. So I've just come back here, I've got to give this another coat, and when I've finished doing this prop, I'm going to put the clear coat on. The clear coat, I just shook it up and stirred it, and it says once it's touch dry to put it on. Some of them say that you should make sure it's tacky when you put this on. Pretty hard to do though, because it dries that quickly, the primer. It's hard to do, but it says on the instructions to make sure it's touch dry, which that is. It's not tacky at all now. So a coat of clear coat. What I'm going to do is put 1 more coat of a primer on here, and then when I finish that, I'm going to apply the clear coat. So I've got 2 brushes ready, 2 tins open, and away we go. I'm going to have plenty. You can apply this with a roller, but it's a little bit messy. It's a bit harder sometimes to keep the runs out of it. But you probably can get it on a bit quicker with a small roller, I guess. But anyway, we'll do it with the brush. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm back to the first blade that I've done. So that's had 2 coats and it's touch dry. So what I'm going to do is put the clear coat on right now. You've got to put this on thick, but you don't want runs in it again. So I'm going to have plenty of this clear product to put 2 coats on the prop, so not even what the instructions call for. So if you're doing a 20-inch prop, I reckon you could do it with a prop and shaft hanger, skeg. You'll have plenty in a small pack to do it, because yeah, I'm going to be throwing a fair bit of product out actually, but that's the way it is. Okay, well that's that job done. This is prop 1 I'm using. Look, it's very similar, if not the same as prop speed. The big difference is it's probably 150 bucks cheaper, and it's an Australian product, so I'm going to give it a try. But look, I think if you're using prop speed, it's virtually the same stuff. I think it's pretty well the same. Okay, last couple of little jobs now. I'm just putting the anodes back on. Thanks very much, Jeff. What a good bloke. He makes good stuff too. Remember, Cleanerworks products. Magnificent stuff to use on your boat. Any of these products I can swear by, they're just great. I'm going to call these Jeff's anodes from now on. So they're on. Anyway, that's another job done. A couple of little more ones to go. We're going back into the water at 2:30 tomorrow, so I'm glad about that. That'll be the best thing about being on the Hrard, is going back into the water. And once we've done that, we're going to do some travelling. Don't you worry about that. Well, the best bit of being on the Hrard is nearly here. That's going back into the water. So just getting rid of this plastic. That's done a good job of looking after the deck here, and I'm going to give the boat a good wash. I'll wash the roof off, because even though it's a really clean yard, there's still a lot of dust around. So I'm going to wash all that dust off before we go back into the drink. Fantastic. The first thing I'll do when they lower me into the water, I'll just open the engine rooms, make sure there's no leaks. Shouldn't be. I haven't been doing anything down there, but I'll just check them out. And then I'll start the motors, and I'll check over the back and make sure that there's water coming through the cooling system. That's the 2 things I'll do when I'm still in the slings, but in the water. Probably the hardest week I've put in the last 18 months, but it's good to have it all done. We're back in the water and floating. I'm back at Bruce's now, and the last thing I'm going to do is paint the deck, so we'll take you through that. But some exciting news, there's new crew coming on the boat. I met a lady at the cafe at Boatworks, and she's shown a bit of interest in doing some cruising, so I've invited her to come aboard, and we're going to spend a couple of weekends out in the boat, and then hopefully we're all going to head north. So that should be a lot of fun. I guess you guys are a bit over the how-to videos, but I haven't really had much to shoot apart from them, because that's what I've been doing, so this is pretty well real life. Yeah, within a few weeks we're going to be cruising again and giving you some more cruising bits. So thanks for sticking with us while we've been on the Hrard. It's been a bit of a chore, but now the girl's looking really good, and yeah, we're ready to go again. Thanks for watching, dudes. We'll see you next week.